All right, I'm gonna continue for a little longer. The audio was all messed up last time. Let's hope it is not messed up this time, but it might be. Levels might still be off as well. It's kind of, it's hard to monitor it at the same time, right? Let's see here. Alright, so I'm going to do the through-hole parts this time. For that, I will use a different end, regular conical end. I don't know what this is. It's what size it is, but fairly typical. So I'll get the iron back on. Oh, actually, there was also a bridge that I noticed while I was off. You can sort of see it. It's right here. You can see it just looks a bit wide. There's a silverness that bridges that gap. So let the iron come up, and that should be fairly easy to get out because it doesn't look like it's deep or anything. And then I'll start soldering some of the surface mounts, or the through-hole stuff. I can start with sorry, that's just buggering me. I will start with the power actually, and then I can test some power stuff. In order to program the CPLD, I will need the JTAG connected. To test the clock, I will need the crystal. Turn that down a bit. And then I can put the socket for the flash, the CPU socket, and the serial port socket. Should also put the USB connector and push buttons and lights. I won't solder the VMEbus connector unless this goes really quickly, but I doubt it. So just fixing that bridge first. That's that fixed. All right. I will do the crystals first. So let's do some of this. Do I need this? I don't think I have any more bypass caps to put on. We'll need that later. Need that later. We'll need that later. Those ones. So those are the USB connectors. We've got 18 picofarad capacitors, which we will need. And these ones are for the serial port crystal, which is a separate crystal. I mean, I might as well put them both in. I'll start with just that one. 50 megahertz. 50 megahertz. 50 megahertz or 48 megahertz. I did have 48 megahertz stuff around, but I'll solder it temporarily. They're both 18 picofarad crystals, so I could just swap them out. Not that it really matters that much. The serial ports are using this other crystal up here, which is for the serial port controller, but it's only going to FTDIs anyways, so it probably doesn't make a huge amount of difference. I don't know how much the chip is. I mean, it's probably fairly tolerant. I kind of would like to have a bit of a spacer in here. But I kind of need like 2 spacers that are the same thickness. Look at this one. There we go. So I'll stick these under the crystal. That gives me a bit of space there. So it's easier to pry it off when if I wanted to change it. There we go. Some water on my sponge. Do I have? Kind of see my sponge. There we go. Just a little bit above the surface. Shouldn't be too bad in terms of extra capacitance, but if I don't clip these leads off, it will sometimes go a little wonky. Probably post the mix that I'm listening to. So that one didn't go in, and you can see, because it's got these spikes, and you can see it on this one a little better. It's got the spikes because it's connected to ground. So it's pulling a lot of heat, and if I add flux, it will just nicely go in there. Question is, do I use the tacky flux or do I use the liquid flux? And I think I'm going to go liquid flux. It does splatter about, which doesn't look as nice when filming it, but it really just seeps into those gaps really well, and it's not sticky, and it washes away really nicely with water. Use lots of heat. Kind of hard to see. Still not best, is it? Oh well. Do the flux first on this one. Now it's decision time. Which headers do I use? Go for the black. I suppose for comparisons. That's what it's going to look like with those pieces on. I mean, what else do we have? We have buttons. No, that's the wrong spot. And some more silver for that. Those are, I mean, this one's going to be black piece, black plastic. But the black is kind of boring because it doesn't have any other flair. There's the yellow, which I might have some yellow LEDs or some orange LEDs. I don't have orange, but I have yellow. But this connector is white. So then you could go white. Your white, black, and purple. I've got yellow capacitors here, but these ones are going to be blue because that's all I got. Everything else is going to be one of these pin headers. There's nothing else on the board. Yeah. This is, I have two slight variations of yellow. It's kind of hard to see because I don't think this camera is all that well color calibrated. But yeah. The last board I did had the white. The board before that had the yellow. I haven't ever made a black one. Like, just go all black with a white connector. Given that the last time I did all white, I'm kind of leaning like do yellow or black. I could do some yellow and some black. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I might do the jumpers, or at least I'll do these ones in black. Because right now what I want to do is get some pins on here so that I can then connect up power. Oh, I've got some twos as well. So I've got some tiny ones. Back to here. We'll take that off and these off. We're gonna get to these shortly though. Buttons over here. We have that guy. It's one of these little test lead things. Had one on a board at work and thought, oh, I've never seen that before. That's a good idea for connecting like oscilloscope ground to. So figured I'd put it on my board. I'm like half thinking, should I maybe try tacky solder or tacky flux, but I also have some other liquid, some no clean stuff. I'm gonna stick with my liquid. Liquid flux. They're not quite level. Ow, fuck. That was the wrong pin. Now, we can solder it properly. I just wanted to get like something to hold it in, make sure it was all aligned. So we should have clock coming out of here. I mean, I could put the JTAG header on, which I am kind of thinking of doing in yellow. Just because it is kind of different. It is something that you connect to, whereas these are kind of debug. You wouldn't normally have these. I'll put the JTAG header on while I'm at it. Have a little bit. There we go. A little bit on the edge. Fairly straight. Yeah, ouch. pokey bit on my solder. Oh, flux. All the flux. Jesus. That's a lot of spittle. All right, I'm going to try some testing. Let's start with a multimeter. Just testing that power is not shorted. What else can I check? Should be fine. Nothing's going to die unless I am mispowering a chip because of the layout, in which case, yeah, not much I can do about that anyways. Let's see here. So I have power supply there, set to 5 volts. So power supply is not supplying power right now. Ground, if I was smart, I would have put it on the bottom. Yep. Have made that mistake before though once. So I have power connected in. And I keep knocking my flux over. Just gonna put this away. I won't use the no clean anymore. I might switch to the water soluble tachyflux. Sorry, I thought it was on my desk, but it's not on my desk anymore. It's on my oscilloscope. So we have power coming in, oscilloscope probe in a tangled mess. Connect our ground to our ground loop. And then let's set, how about I change the camera to the power supply. Put overcurrent protection on, and then if we're drawing more than 200 milliamps, it will trip. But I will set that to 1. Let's see what that does. We're drawing no current. With like less than 100 milliamps of inrush. Okay. When it beeps like that, it means that it hit the limit, so it's definitely drawing in like at least 50. Once it's charged up, okay. But that's okay. Okay, we'll see. Let's 200 was enough. Shit. Can I even operate this thing? It's too many buttons. There we go. So it's not drawing in anything. All right. Let's move the camera back to the oscilloscope. Check our power. We don't have power. Huh. I have to change the view to show the problem. The problem. All right, so once it's plugged in, we are getting 200 milliamps is not enough. So 400, that's a lot of inrush. 1 amp. Really? 1 amp of inrush. I don't have that many capacitors on here. $1.2 amps. Oof. That does not seem right. There's nothing that's particularly hot, although I just had it on for a sec. So I am on power. Five volts. That seems like a lot of power for a steady state. The other cards I've had have not had that. Oh. If there's a problem, it's going to be a problem down here. It's going to be a problem with one of these transceiver chips. Could still be a bridge there. Bring the multimeter out again. They don't have like needle probes. Needle probes would probably help here. This isn't actually working. Kind of need needle probes. Because these are too fat. Shit. Keep getting this off of camera. It's really hard. I need like a laser sight so that I know where center is. I suppose I could make one. What I'm trying to do is tap the pin. So put the black probe on one particular pin. Tap the top of that pin so that I know that that is the pin that I'm looking at. And then tap the one right next to it. To make sure that there's no unforeseen bridge. It's really hard to see this. I'm already kind of done with this. There's got to be a better way to find this. PCB. I'm not finding anything by inspection. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. Or maybe this can't be seen. Or maybe there isn't actually a problem. But honestly, there's no reason these chips should take that much power. And had I like built this up in pieces and tested it instead of like waiting until this point to put the power pins on, then I would have been able to check, oh, is this a normal amount of current draw? Try plugging in power again. See where we're at. 1.3. Whoa! Yeah! Okay, there we go. Yep, it's that one. Sometimes that is actually the quickest way to find a problem. So I kind of had been feeling around before on the board, and I could feel when the power was on that it was hot around here. These ones weren't too hot, so it was probably these. These are very thin, very small pitch. For some reason, the quad flat pack I don't have as much problem with. It seems to work pretty well, but these ones always have problems. And because it's just a bus, I mean, I guess to be fair, the complex PTSD, the CPLD, is not doing anything right now. Everything is just an input essentially, whereas these ones, while they shouldn't actually be doing anything, there could be all sorts of things that go on with them. They're just a basic logic chip, essentially, transceivers. So it's much easier for them to actually like have a short between I/O pins. So the power pins aren't shorted. It's the output of one of the pins is shorting to something else, most likely. And it tends to be a very small spot that gets hot. This chip, I had my finger on it and I could feel just one little spot was just scorching hot, and the rest of the chip was fine. So there's something going on with this chip. I suppose it's not terribly accurate to try and gauge which pin it is by heat alone. That isn't to say that these other ones also don't have a problem, but this one definitely did have a problem. Oof, Jesus Christ. It's near the bottom. It's surprising. Like, you turn it on, nothing's really hot, and then there's just one little spot. Burns your fingers. Oh, no, that's flux. And we used no clean flux, which shouldn't have to be cleaned. It should not be conductive. However, I did wash the board. So it is entirely possible that we just have water on the board still. Because I'm not seeing anything that is bridged. I am seeing a lot of flux. Good to know that my suspicion, seeing the current draw, was not unfounded. I'm just taking a hazard, whether trying to heat up the board a bit might just fix something. Well, that's interesting. It's made it worse. I don't have this power backwards, do I? No. That's right. I mean, I also did solder this on really quickly and sloppily. And that was kind of on purpose to see how reasonable it would be to try and do it really quickly. And I guess this is the answer to that. It might sometimes work, but not always. Well, that slightly improved it. It is now slightly worse, but better than it was. It's like 1.4 amps, which is way too much. Way too much. I guess that also means that it's this side. .5. Generally not a good thing. How about we get some solder wick? I put the stuff that I wanted back. God damn it. Alright, so that's just taking a whole bunch off. We're still 1.5. How about we try taking it off the other side? Oh boy, this is difficult now. The wires make it difficult. damn it. Ah, fuck it. God damn it. Oh, ho, that one too. And it could just be water under the board. But probably is bridging. Ah, that's disappointing. It's always these stupid transceivers. I maybe need some better soldering techniques. No change. So I'm pretty positive it's these two. U14 and U15. U14 and U15 are the data lines. They're different data lines. U11 and U15 right into each other. U11 and U15, their outputs on the VME side of the bus right into each other. So if they were both the same direction and output enable was low, which is going to be true because the CPLD is not programmed right now. And so it's going to be floating. Shit, I just got tacky flux on the side of the connector there. So our output, our sorry, my fingers are very The short of it is, it may be the CPLD, because it is an unprogrammed CPLD. And it may be outputting the two buffers into each other. You would kind of expect both of them to heat up, but like both of these, because these two are not related. This one outputs into the same data lines as this one. So those ones could short their IOs. And these two could short their IOs. And this one, U12, is kind of just on its own. So the output enable is pin 48 on both of these. So what is that? It is low, meaning it's going to output onto the bus. This one's probably low too, isn't it? Yeah. Fuck. Well, let's hope we did not damage the chip permanently with that short amount of powering. But we also need to power it long enough to program it. Which is kind of a pain in the butt. I really should have written the program into it before I put those other chips on. I'm trying to find a long enough cable for the programmer here. I also will need to well, let's hope this program that I have works. I should have a it should write them all high. know, I did not put any kind of marker on that connector to tell me which pin 1 is, but I believe it is going to be like that. Whoops, you can't see that. Like that, pin 1 is up. Where is pin 1? Jesus fucking Christ. Pin 1 is like that. That is sloppy. I should have marked it. I should have put the JTAG on the other side so that at least then it would have been like, okay, the only thing on the board is the JTAG label, and that should be on the side that you would expect it to be oriented such that it would be at pin 1. But I did not do that. All right. Well, I was not expecting that. Now I have this VCC pin jumper. This is the other board that I made that has the same CPLD. It has the power jumper and it is not connected. The JTAG is that way. I can't really tell what okay, that's definitely the ground pin, right? So ground, pin 10, right? Which would have it that orientation. So we're expecting it to be like that. Power going to the board, turning it on. We're at 58 milliamps. Run. And we're writing it. No problems. Verifying it. And we're done. Finished successfully. It's running. Power off. This should be exactly the same orientation. Ground is this pin, right? That was the one that we had. Yep, that's ground. Power. That. Of course, it's not going to be straightforward. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'm not sure if it's a problem with the design. It should be the same design as this. but it could also be a soldering issue. Wasn't that? I noticed that the power supply went to 24 volts, so just checking that again to make sure. So there's no shorts between these pins, which is to say there's no shorts between the pins that are on the chip itself, but none of those pins are next to each other anyway, so if there was a bridge we wouldn't see it through those pins. So there could still be a bridge. Looked really clean though before. Honestly, it doesn't look like there's just nothing there. So either it is a soldering issue, or it's a design issue, or it's a water issue because it's got water in it. I'm getting kind of done, so I think I might just call it here. I only said I would do another hour, so if it is water and I leave it overnight, I'll give it another wash because I messed it up with the tacky flux again. But could give it overnight to dry. Try it later and see if it's still doing this problem, if it's still got this problem. Maybe I should just check the clock, because I should be able to check the clock. The clock should be working, despite all of this. Assuming the clock circuit's completely independent. So pin 6 of U14. So that's going to be that pin. Well. Oh. Right. Obviously, it's not going to work if it doesn't have power. All right. Connected power now. Let's get back onto pin 6. Pin 6. $16 megahertz. Well. That's quite wrong. $16.67. Never tried a crystal this fast before. I think I might have tried a 48 in the basic circuit in a breadboard, but I didn't actually try. Recently, I've had 25 megahertz crystals instead. So it is oscillating. Something else interfering? I don't think that would have helped anything at all, but there you go. I'll give it one more try, and then I'll call it. I'll have to come back to this another day, probably Wednesday or Tuesday. Tuesday, maybe. We'll see. Oh, it's working! Jesus. So it was some kind of bridge somewhere. Okay. Ah, that is hot. That is still fucking hot. Okay. Well, so it's now down to 361. As I try and do everything at once, as usual. Trying to clean my fingers off because I keep getting sticky, tacky flux on. Clean that off before. Oh, how about I like power it off before I do that? That would be a smart thing. I guess it would be smart. All right. So, I basically just reheated the sides of the chip and tried it again, was able to program the CPLD, and once the CPLD was programmed, it was no longer, the program I put in it is going to pull all of the output enables high so that they're inactive and not writing into each other. It's possible I might have fried the chips already. They can be fairly sensitive. I have made a board with these chips, not these exact chips, the LVC versions instead of the FTC versions. But with that board, I don't think I ever really got them working properly because I had fried them early in the process. And it may be that I have just fried all of these. I may have fried just these two. You can't see. I may have fried just these two. I may have fried all of these four. Probably haven't fried this one because that one doesn't write into anything else. Well, I guess it does share something. It has to share something. But So, power on, 350 milliamps. It's a little high, but it's not unusually high. Okay. Now that I have this working, well, that crystal's not working. Is that crystal working now? I wouldn't suspect so. Oh! 50 megahertz. Oh my god. 50 megahertz. It's working. It's terrible. Oh, it's so terrible. That's supposed to be the square wave output. Oh, wow. Maybe I'm gonna need a different clock anyways. What is the CPU socket pin? It is the 5th pin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's not bad. 6.25. What is that? Like an, I guess it should be an 1/8. Yeah, 50 divided by 8. So that is, if I can get it a little closer. You still can't see the frequency. Okay, that's a little weird, but yeah, you can't see the frequency, but it's 6.28. So it's dividing it by 8, which is what the program in CPLD is supposed to do. I mean, I wanted it to do divided by 4, but it's dividing by 8, whatever. Close enough. So the clock is like good enough, even though it's terrible going into it, but whatever. Maybe if I change the resistor or something, it'll work a bit better, or if I throw another Schmidt trigger at it, which I've only got 2 instead of 3, so that's a thing. I thought the 2 would be enough, but maybe not. At least we are back in business in terms of the clock, though, so let's get set up again if we can. With that win, I kind of want to just power through some of it, but CPU socket's going to be quite a bit, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to end up being a lot, so maybe I'll stop there for tonight. It is almost 9, and I said I would only go until 8. Yeah. It's coming along. I was hoping to get further today, but at least we fixed a problem on the way. There might still be problems. I'm tempted to give the board another wash. You know what? Before I call it a night, I'm just gonna quickly do these jumper things. Save myself some effort. The next time I pick this up, because those will be kind of fiddly. I'm not planning on populating the USB headers. I am pulling 400 milliamps, sorry, which is a fair amount. Oh, these are different. Oh. I just assumed you could see that. Different color of pins. I think they're thinner as well. One of those is crooked. This one is crooked. Ow, that is the pin I was not supposed to be touching. Figured I might as well just put the crystal on. And the two capacitors that I need for it. Does kind of make a difference which is which. I should have put it on the board. This is the 5 picofarad. It is C5. Can't see any writing on that. And a 15 picofarad. So that's those caps done, which is nice. So I've got the LEDs, the switches, the USB. If I want, I could do the LEDs and the second serial port, but I'll probably leave that. And then the the 3 sockets and the VMEbus connector. Yeah, all right. I think that's a good place to stop. We got the clocks running. We've got all of the... Of course, now I'm like, oh, look at that. The clock is kind of crooked. Can we adjust that at all? Oh, hey, right. It's supposed to be off. I am messing things up as I tend to do. There we go. Plug that in there. Connect that up. Just checking this again. "16 megahertz. So I maybe broke it again? You would think that I should stop fiddling with this. If I've already broken it this many times. But I'm not so good at learning. Yeah. I have somehow messed it up again. Oh, yeah, that would happen. "16 megahertz. So I didn't break it. All right, let's call it there. I don't want to fiddle with this anymore. I have broken it. I say that and then I fucking fiddle with it again. Of course I do. Yeah, I'll call it there. I'll come back maybe on Tuesday. Solder up the rest of it. The clock is a little concerning. I might switch the crystal out for a 25 megahertz crystal just to see if that's the problem. But given that I just soldered it again and it started failing, there might be something else. Could also still be water, could still be something else. Yeah, I'm thinking about like testing the CPU. I'm gonna need to test the CPLD and the logic that's in there. Make sure that it's right before I put the CPU in the socket. Yeah, probably a lot more work. It's gonna take another 2-3 hours probably of soldering and testing, of like basic testing, and then I would kind of need to like go through more detailed testing. At that point I would probably be somewhat able to run code, but probably wouldn't actually work very well because I'm not expecting the CPLD to work right away. I haven't really tested it, the programming for it. Oh, I shouldn't do that yet because I've got it's elsewhere. All right. Well, thank you for joining. If you did, I'll see you next time. Bye.